Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days. So just finished watching NXT Takeover the end and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Really strong show. Every single match delivered. It was, a surprise in there as well, or a couple of surprises. And yeah, it was really strong, loads of talking points. Before we get to all of that though, just want to do a couple of shout outs. So just want to say, hello and a big thank you to Ultimate WWE Collector and also WWE UK Fan 2016. Absolutely brilliant, really appreciate the support. So the show started off with Almas against Ty Dillinger. Ty Dillinger really over, crowd going crazy for him. This Almas guy, I really don't know much about him, but he came out and he looked a little bit like the Godfather. He kind of had a white hat and braces, and he was all in white. He looked a little bit pimpish. But he could do it in the ring though. His music was okay. His entrance attire was a bit off for me. These guys didn't get long. I think the match was felt like less than 10 minutes. Might have been 10 minutes, including the entrances. But it felt a little off to me, only because of the time. The match itself was fine, some really good spots actually. It was full of spots. There was double knees and lots of strikes, lots of dodging out of the way. It was, I wouldn't have said it was a lucha style match, but it definitely had influences from that. This new guy looks good. I've got no problems with him whatsoever. I just wish this match could have had another 5 minutes or so. Just felt like it needed it. It was good. It was fun, but it was just a little over too quick. The new guy gets the victory, and I felt sorry for Ty. I just thought that Ty could have done with the win. But I understand why they would give the victory to this new guy. Next, we had the match of the night, one of the matches of the year, American Alpha against the Revival. You have to watch this match. The pacing on it was just incredible. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, there was that much not double teaming, but they were doing double drop kicks, double ankle locks. There was loads of teamwork in this, but it was just fast paced, and it was in the ring, it was out the ring. When they got a bit of order to it and the match actually settled down a little bit, the pace was still really strong. And what was really smart was they didn't just let it turn into a normal tag match. There was a lot of interference all throughout, and then it was a case of trying to keep up with who had the legal tag. This thing was just, it flowed beautifully. It was absolutely brilliant. You've got to check that match out. Revival pick up the shock victory. But to tell the truth, it's one of those. American Alpha didn't look weak in this. It was just war. It was just all out war, and the Revival just managed to scrape it. Brilliant. But one of the main talking points was that American Alpha get attacked afterwards by a new tag team. Don't know what they're called. I know that one of the guys used to be in, is it Bellator? MMA, and the other one was a Canadian heavyweight champion. It's all stuff I saw from Dave Meltzer online. So these guys seem legit, and to really hammer that point home, their manager is Paul Ellering. Paul Ellering, massive in the 80s and 90s, but probably bigger in the 80s. He was the manager of the Road Warriors, also known as Legion of Doom. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, tag teams of all time. So Paul Ellering, his daughter's actually been doing quite a bit of work with NXT. It's not a massive surprise to see him involved. I suppose it's just a massive surprise that he's seems to be connected with this tag team. Don't know what they're going to be called. Don't know what these guys are called individually. But obviously we will find out. But it seems like we're heading towards an American Alpha against whoever this team are. And this team look big. You know, they're proper beefed up. They could be like the Ascension. I did joke on Twitter that they seem a little bit like the Ascension. Hopefully they don't get booked as badly as the Ascension. So yeah, watch this space. I thought that was a real highlight. Great match, surprise finish, and then a surprise afterwards. It's really got to be in contention for one of the matches of the year. Next up, we had Nakamura against Austin Aries, and yeah, this was great. A couple of bits in it that I wasn't too kind of keen on. There was a few moments where, you know, they were kind of finding their way. But this was the first time I've really seen Nakamura get really tested outside of his debut match, obviously against Sami Zayn, which, you know, you'd expect. But since then, he's just been up against, was it like Elias Sampson and Ty Dillinger, and, you know, those guys didn't really put up much of a fight. This was a fight. You know, there was. I mean, I remember Nakamura being in the last Chancery and kind of felt like, you know, he could have tapped. He could have tapped. I don't think he was ever going to lose. But yeah, it was brilliant. It was really entertaining. It, for me, was probably just better than the opening match, but nowhere near as good as the American Alpha Revival match. But, you know, we are talking match of the year candidate for that. We really are. That second match was that good. Nakamura crazy over, as you would expect. Austin Aries, I thought, this is, you know, one of his best matches. Yeah, it was really good. I suppose just to hammer that home, you had "This is awesome" chants from the crowd. You know, they were doing that throughout American Alpha and the Revival, and the crowd were very, very vocal all throughout this show. Next up, we had Asuka against Nia Jax, and yeah, fascinating match. I was worried that this was going to slow the pace down because it had been a fast-paced takeover to this point. Nia Jax isn't really known for her fast pace, so I was worried that the momentum would die down. But I thought the strategy for this match was perfect. They just kept it very simple, very kind of intricate. There was lots of reversals, and even though they weren't flying around the ring, jumping off the top ropes, doing stuff on the outside, it was kind of contained, but it was nice, intricate wrestling. It was good. You know, Asuka would then do a few strikes, but she would then flip it into a submission hold. There'd be in that submission hold, but not for too long, and then it'd get flipped into something else, and you know, it still had a good momentum about it. It still had a good pace about it. I enjoyed this match. I really did. I thought Nia looked really strong in it, and what I liked as well was at the end, it kind of felt like, you know, when Brock went up against Undertaker and Brock knew he was in trouble and he stuck his fingers up at the Undertaker. That's kind of what Nia did. Nia knew that she was in trouble at the end. I think she was down on her knees and she could see Asuka running towards her. She just like screamed at her. And Asuka just like kicked her in the head, I think, like 3 times. And she was out, and that was it. Asuka retains. It was really good. They told a decent story. It wasn't on the level of like a Bayley Sasha Banks match. I think they're still finding their feet. I think it's going to take a bit of time for that kind of level of match. But Asuka's certainly got the moveset to be able to do it. She just needs the right partner. I think a rematch against Bayley could do it. Nia, it's tough. It's tough for those bigger competitors in size, because, you know, the pacing doesn't help, but she's got it in her as well. She could have fantastic matches. She is definitely one to watch. Also, we had a backstage interview, and in the background you could see Bobby Roode going into William Regal's office. I was a bit disappointed that he didn't get involved in a bigger way, to tell the truth, because, you know, he was ringside at one of the takeovers earlier in the year, and now he's, you know, just seen in the background. It's like, come on, just sign already, would you? So yeah, that was a bit disappointing. And but one of the things I thought was really cool, very innovative, was the cage for the cage match. This was flat packed on the ceiling, and then what they did was they kind of, it was on hinges and it all kind of folded down. Normally it's ready made and it just drops as one whole unit above the ring. I've never seen them do that before, but I think it was the only way they were going to get it in, because Full Sail it's just not that big. I was you know, kind of quite interested to see how they were going to do it. Talking of Full Sail, I thought it looked a lot better without the ramp as well. A lot more room. I think they could get a lot more seating in as a result of that. But maybe they don't feel they need it for a TV show. Maybe it gives the Takeover a bit of a different feel. But I like it. I like it without the ramp. But that brought us to the main event anyway, and that was Finn Balor against Samoa Joe. I was a little disappointed with the entrance on this from Finn Balor, because well, I mean, like, yeah, he was the demon, but his body paint wasn't anything, you know, too spectacular. And like, there was no back pieces of note, or there wasn't anything really on the front outside of the teeth. Yeah, you know, he I don't know, he just went straight into the ring, and Samoa Joe came out. It was a bit flat. But the match wasn't flat. The match was hard hitting and pretty brutal. They used the cage well. They used it as a weapon, throwing each other into it, trying to escape from it, stepping over each other to get out of the cage, trying to get out of the door. Lots of, you know, big power moves in there, what you'd expect. But it was the end. It was the finish that really, really delivered. Balor hit the coup de grace, couldn't get the pin. Looked like he was going to go up and hit the big coup de grace from the top of the cage, but he didn't. It looked as though he kept going. Gave Samoa Joe time to get up, grab him, bring him back, and basically Joe got Balor on his shoulders, and then hit the mother of all muscle busters I've ever seen, from like the second rope, I think it was. 1, 2, 3. Samoa Joe retains. There was no surprises at the end, which was a bit of a shame. Kind of felt like it could have done with just something. But in truth, you know, every match delivered on some level. We obviously had the surprise of that new tag team, Paul Ellering being around, the shock of the Revival winning the tag titles back, and it was a really solid show. Out of 10, this is a solid 8. I could push to a week 9, but I'll just stick at a solid 8 for this one. So solid 8 for this show. And wow, more excitingly for me, they're in the UK next week. So I'm actually going to go and see them at Bournemouth, and obviously I'll be recording the whole adventure, so you guys will be joining me on that. Yeah, you know, really looking forward to that. So that's next week. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, it'd be brilliant if you did, because we've got a lot of exciting videos on the way. You can also follow me on Twitter at Wrestling Days UK. Let me know what you thought of the show. And that's it. Hopefully see you again next time. Bye for now.